Hello! Welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another current household update. This is the second one of my first generation Can't Have It All of the Safe Ship Hubbard Legacy Challenge. The rules will be in the description. I also went over them in the first current household update. We're going to jump into Cass with Ophelia and her family. I'm going to be showing you how they are looking at the end of the second act of her story, which is what we're going over today, so that I can show you how her kids are looking, instead of just showing you her and her boyfriend, because at the beginning of the act, her kids did not exist yet. So here we are with Ophelia and Cass. She is so very cute. She starts her young adulthood as a stay-at-home mom, and she is very busy with that duty. I think she's so cute, and I hope you like her as well. So let's take a look at her family. We will first take a look at her, well, now he's her husband, but he is her boyfriend at the beginning of the generation. This is Hank Bauer. He is a maker, outgoing, nosy, cheerful, and squeamish sim. And of course her firstborn child, Bubbles here. He is an elder now, which is sad. Then we have her first actual child, child. This is Ronan. He currently has the active trait. He's a cute little guy. I don't have that much to say about him while we're in Cass, but I really like him. He's adorable. He really looks like his mom in spirit, but with his features, I'm almost completely sure he's like a carbon copy of his dad. And then we have some twin toddlers. So this is Nessie. She is a wild toddler, and she's absolutely adorable. She and her sister have matching outfits because I thought it would be cute. I am a twin, and my sister and I had matching outfits when we were kids, and I don't really mind that. I think it can be cute if you have kids, and I just feel weird not giving them the same clothes, because, like, I don't know who they are yet. How am I supposed to individualize them? But this is her sister, Nori. She's a charmer, and they are both so adorable, but they look so different, and I'm really excited to see how they age up, because I think Nori's gonna look a lot like her mom, and Nessie's gonna look more like their dad. So again, we have the matching outfits. I leaned into blue with Nessie and yellow for Nori. Those are the two generation colors. So whoever ends up being heir will wear both of them, but right now I'm just doing it that way. So yeah, after this we're gonna get into a butt ton of lore. So strap in, there's a lot of stuff to go through. And for a review of the family outside of her household, we have her mother, Allie, her father, Akira, her younger brother, Oliver, his girlfriend, Jerica, and our youngest brother, Oscar, as well as our robot brother, Octavius, and our best friend, Sand. So starting off right where we left off last time. So Hank aged up nosy, and of course Ophelia aged up her cycle disciple. We asked to move in with him because he had a house already. The house had 5 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, an office, and a pool. It's not Ophelia's style, but she thinks if we'll be raising a family here, the kids will have everything they need. She can make this into a home. Hank let Ophelia decorate the house to make it a home, but he did remove her decor from the dining room, kitchen, and office, even though he did tell her she could. Hank wants 3 kids, so 3 kids it will be. Hank wanted to make sure his wife was able to have children, so they got their fertility checked, and they both have very high fertility. Whoopee! Hank joined the business career, level 5, because his dad is at the top. He was hungry in the morning, so at 7 a.m. he woke Ophelia up and kindly demanded for her to make him some brekkie. He then left for work before she was even done. He's clearly excited to have a woman in the house who can do everything for him again, and bless her, Ophelia agrees because she wants him to love her. And he does, I guess. Hank had the opportunity to expose corruption in his workplace. He didn't. And Ophelia was committed to having a nice dinner and dessert ready for Hank every day when he comes home from work. Octavius called Hank and offered to be his sugar daddy, as the owner of Social Bunny, apparently. Allie's invention is making big strides. Get this. Sheena Fraser, who is literally dating our best friend Sand, I gave her a makeover and everything. She just got married to some old guy right upon young adulthood. And stranger, Bridget Bassett, the girl who had twins in the hallway of our high school, she married Aya, which was one of our high school friends, which is a big plot twist. Not expecting that. I thought she was honestly in love with her baby daddy, but cool for them. but also poor Sand. So now Hank is wanting to take the next step and introduce Ophelia to his parents. Ophelia is so nervous to make a good impression. Allie helped her make dinner for the in-laws. She had a nice conversation with her mother, and we made some very fancy salmon, biscuits for appetizers, and an apple tart. Ophelia politely welcomed and introduced herself to Lance and Hope, his parents. Hank has a business relationship with his dad and is a huge mama's boy because she loved him too much and disciplined him too little as a child. Ophelia was so well-mannered. She had a very how-is-the-weather-esque chat with Lance, and she found him independent, capable, and extremely attractive because Hank is literally his clone. He found her annoying. She's trying her best. Hope was critical of her even before they met. After all, who's good enough for her baby boy? She thought Ophelia was a nature maniac, and Ophelia found her strong-minded. Instead of eating one of the 4 dishes she had made special for them, they raided the fridge. Which surprises me, because they're meant to be very posh and proper, but they ignored when she called them to the meal. A couple random times during the meal, Hope would say something mean or yell at Ophelia. Even though he's done literally no work, Hank is burnt out. He never works hard because he doesn't need to. His dad is at the top, and he's halfway through their career because of it. He just went to work for 2 days. Come on, dude. They had a housewarming party. Sand and Sheena talked at said party, and apparently Sheena had not even broken up with Sand yet. So I made them break up. Sand refused to do so amicably, reasonably so, and looking now, Sheena has literal dozens of red relationships, and like 6 that are in the green. I feel bad. She was a bad idea. I'm sorry, Sand, for trying to get you together so bad. The next morning, while relaxing by the pool, Ophelia got a call from Hank. He asked her to set up something for them, a romantic date. She's better than he is at their romantic gestures, anyway. The food wasn't quite ready when Hank came home. She didn't have enough time, and he seemed agitated. He took a nap while waiting for her to finish. On their date, he told a dirty joke. She didn't like it. I wonder what it was. It was so bad she wanted to become romantically reserved. Maybe a bit out of pocket. But then Hank proposed. Next morning, she went dress shopping with Sand, Jerica, and her mama. Unfortunately, Hank's mom wanted to come along as well. She met Allie, and they did not get along well. She was quite demanding as they picked the dress, so it didn't exactly turn out as Ophelia's style. Hank also got a moodlet that he thought the date last night wasn't the fairy tale date he had hoped for. He made Ophelia plan her own proposal, though she didn't even know it would be, and he has the nerve to say it wasn't good enough? Anyway, Jerica will be doing the makeup for the wedding. Our wedding party is of Kira, of course, will walk her down the aisle. Her maid of honor is Sand, the best man is Sterling, Hank's friend. Bridesmaids are Jerica, Bridget, and Aya. Groomsmen are Oliver and Terrence, which is one of the first dudes that Ophelia met, and they just became good friends. Oscar, the little toddler, is the flower boy. They wanted to go to the romance festival the night before the wedding. Sterling was also there, so Hank ended up spending more time with him, and Hope came to spy on them. They also found out that Sterling is evil. Woohoo! The next day we had the wedding, uneventful and glitchy. Our robot brother died at the wedding, and so we had to repair him, because the repairman didn't notice he was dead and thought everything was dandy. Without telling Ophelia, or me, I didn't know this was gonna happen, Hank invited his parents to stay over at their house for 6 days immediately after the wedding. Ophelia did her best to be kind about telling them they were leaving for their honeymoon. Hank said they could house sit, he didn't see the problem, but Ophelia wasn't quite sure. She quite likes her home, and when Hope came into the house, she made all these little remarks on the decor choices. But Hank told her firmly that they can stay here if they want to stay here. So they left for their honeymoon. Ophelia wasn't really in the mood after that debacle to have her first marital woohoo and try for baby nonetheless, but she went along anyway. It's fine, she enjoyed it, of course. It's Hank. So she went to bed exhausted. Hank and Ophelia both wanted their honeymoon to be a relaxing time, not an exciting time. He sneakily spied on her relaxing in the pool, little creepy. He spent most of his day calling his mom, relaxing, and flirting with Ophelia a little too much for her own comfort. I'm not sure if I ever mentioned this before, but Ophelia does have a pretty bad fear of becoming pregnant. Ophelia had been very anxious about the woohoo after their wedding, resulting in pregnancy. A last-minute attempt to save herself, she asked Hank if he would be interested in adoption, something she's always had a big heart for. He said no, without much discussion, a thought he never really wanted to give any merit to. Adoption is too complicated for me to be any part of it, because he really only cares about himself, not considering what Ophelia will go through if pregnant. Because of her anxieties, Ophelia took a bunch of pregnancy tests throughout the honeymoon. The last day of the honeymoon, the test came back positive. Ophelia is very upset, not over the idea of having a child. Sure, she wasn't exactly ready, but she'll love that child with her whole heart. But because she was so scared of what it will do to her body. Ophelia told Hank and tried to express her worries to him as well. He was ecstatic, and the only worry he really picked up on was her worries about baby weight. Hank reassured her, just work hard and keep on top of it and you won't gain a bit. They got home, Hope was super tense. The family came over so she could tell them the big news. She asked Allie if she wanted grandchildren, and Allie, knowing her daughter's fear, told her, I'm not sure if it's a good idea for you to have a new kid, honey. But it's too late. She told them the news, and they acted excited for her, though comforting her a bit. Hank's friend Sterling adopted a baby, so out of courtesy they went to visit. Ophelia hinted to Hank, your friend adopted a baby, but he didn't seem to care. That was his decision, he says, which is just interesting to say, as if Ophelia is not allowed to make a decision. As the pregnancy progressed, Ophelia fell in love with the baby, but it was living through a nightmare trying to come to terms with what was happening to her body. Once the gender reveal for their one healthy baby came up, Hank's parents were still at the house. Akira died of heat exhaustion during the gender reveal in his stupid catfish costume. Then Camille, Oliver's best friend, also died of heat exhaustion. We moved the party inside, safe to say. She was feeling confident from a very successful party, so we did try to plead, and Akira and Camille were both actually spared thanks to Ophelia. The next morning, she brought her father to see the gender of the baby in the hospital. Friday, she went into labor. She had just come home from an appointment at the hospital, so she had to hurry to set up the birthing pool in the backyard. However, Ophelia experienced stalled labor and had to have an emergency C-section. At 1:47 p.m., she gave birth via emergency C-section. She named her new baby boy Ronan, meaning little seal, fitting for a water-related gen. If you want to know Gen 2's rules, by the way, you can take a look in the description. And let me know as I continue to talk about Ophelia's story and her children, which child you think would be the most fitting heir, because I'm not sure yet. The main things you need to know about the generation is they like poetry and fitness. Specifically swimming. And I'm trying to pick up on clues from all the little babies to see which one would naturally be best suited as heir. Hank decided after not even a few hours of his son's life that he wanted another baby. In the middle of the night, the first night with Ronan, we were robbed. Ophelia was the only one awake and woke up Hank. He wanted to be the protector of the house, after all. He chickened out and just called the police. Ophelia stayed with Ronan to protect him. Hank had terrible survival instincts and decided to go downstairs to where the burglar is to make mac and cheese. He doesn't ever cook. Why did you do that, Hank? Police caught the burglar and brought him in, but the next morning I did find him walking down the street very much free, so. Ronan aged up as a wiggly infant. He has his mother's brown hair, freckles, brown eyes, and skin tone. Though as he gets older, I suspect he will look more like his father. Over time, it was discovered he hates being held, he's a picky eater, and a free air tangler. We held a house party and invited all family members, and Sand, to meet little Ronan. Ronan liked most of his family right away, other than Oliver and Jerica, who scared him. He needed a trusted adult, because they were both teenagers at the time, and he was not having it. Just a few days after Ronan's birth, Ophelia had the whim and bucket list goal to have another child. Midday on a random Tuesday, Lance, her father-in-law, called to tell Ophelia that he was in love with her. She felt insanely awkward and of course turned him down. He got frustrated, but told her she couldn't tell Hank. At dinner that night, she told Hank, and he said he'd talked to his dad, but nothing came of it. Despite the strange situation with Hank's dad and their romantic satisfactions both becoming fine, Hank and Ophelia decided to start trying for another baby. Hank had been asking for another one basically since Ronan was born, but still refused to adopt, so Ophelia gave in. Ophelia found out she was pregnant. Sand and Allie visited the next day for dinner, so we told them the news. I'm also pretty sure Hope was part of a cult. Lots of stuff happening, honestly. She was wearing the Grim Reaper robe and running down my street for no reason. From what I've heard, there's a surprisingly large amount of boy moms who are cultists. Strange. As he continued to grow, Ronan rapidly learned to sit up, creep, and pinch her grasp. A very fast and smart baby. Bubbles is like his little guardian angel. He's always watching him. Her first ultrasound for the second pregnancy was an appointment set up after dinner, but Hank couldn't come because he was too busy working from home. To her surprise, it wasn't a completely normal ultrasound appointment because she discovered she'd be having twins. She knew it would be safest to have another C-section with these babies, even though she'd wanted to have a home birth just as she wanted last time. It feels as if she can't do anything right. She can't have any babies through natural delivery. Many days she doesn't have time to have dinner ready when Hank comes home anymore. She serves him leftovers sometimes, and other times, despite her maxed cooking skills, she'd make poor quality food. She has a feeling in her gut she's letting Ronan down too, despite how happy of a baby he is. During the gender reveal party, Hank decided to sunbathe in the nude around children. We also caught Lance and Hope trying to woohoo in our hot tub during the reveal. Horny day for the Bowers. They popped the first balloon and it's a girl, but before they could pop the second, she did go into labor. So I just decided for baby number 2 to be a surprise. So welcome to the family, twin girls Nessie and Nori. Nessie was born Saturday 11:13 p.m. and Nori shortly after at 11:16. Nessie's name is a reference to the Loch Ness Monster and water, and it means sacrifice. Nori's name means candle and ocean spirit. Very, very fitting names. Although the candle is more reference to what Ophelia likes rather than the next gen. When she got home, it was time to celebrate Ronan's birthday. Bit late, unfortunately, but she couldn't do much about the twins' birth time after all. He aged up inquisitive. Ronan's toddler quirks are hates being held, messy eater, and early riser. When they aged up, Nessie is a wiggly infant and Nori is cautious. And they all have, animals that they like, and Ronan's is a polar bear. I know his name means little seal, but I can't find any seal toys, so I had to change it to polar bear. Nessie is a whale, and Nori's is a penguin. Nessie's infant quirks are frequently sneezes, early riser, and messy eater. Nori's infant quirks are feeding tinkler, free air tinkler, and messy eater. Very messy baby. Sheena, the woman who broke Sam's heart by marrying a random man while they were dating, she just died of a broken heart. How ironic. Still, of course, Ophelia was quite saddened. She was friends with Sheena in high school. Oliver proposed to Jerica, and they moved out of his childhood home. Their romance dynamic changed from steamy to wholesome with age. I asked the Future Cube, and they're planning on having their first kid later in the week, because they both want kids. But the Future Cube said nope, nope, nope to having one right now. Being a cautious infant, Nori was upset when a stranger came over to her with no familiar face in sight. The only problem is that stranger was her father. Yikes. Ophelia had been sick and sleep-deprived for a while. One afternoon, Oliver called her and then came over to help with his niece and nephew while Ophelia slept. Ophelia's family kept trying to get her to get a job, possibly hinting that she needs independence from Hank. Speaking of which, Hank had an outburst at her over the fact that since the twins were born, she never really had a meal ready for him when he comes home. Ophelia was hurt. She's trying after all, and they aren't destroying a romance dynamic. She was too busy taking care of the kids to eat or sleep at night. So Oliver made the family dinner before he left. He was not a chef, but he is a caring brother. Hank has gotten worse. He's been yelling at Ophelia, but right afterwards he'll compliment her so she doesn't read into it. Worst guy ever. Nori dislikes mashed mangoes, the colors of the generation, and my personal favorite fruit ever, and wasn't sure about mashed avocado, but later decided she liked it, which are almost the colors of the generation. I'm talking about both the food and the label. I like to have my Sims try whatever food and label matches with the generation color. She also disliked lemon, which is her primary gen color. And Nessie was a little slow to learn her gross motor skills. While Nessie learned to roll over on her tummy, Nori was scooting all over the house. Nessie loved mango, though, and disliked avocado. Hank kind of ignored the girls, but he'll do flashcards with Ronan. Probably business flashcards like his dad did with him. Ophelia does have to admit that she feels lonely in this big house alone with the kids, though she loves them with all her heart. Nessie aged up with the wild trait. Poor Nori aged up with the charmer and unhappy infant traits. I don't know why, considering she and Nessie were completely equal. Nessie's toddler quirks are good appetite, loves sounds, and loves water. Nori's toddler quirks are good appetite, loves sounds, and loves wake-up time. Definitely twins. Hank and Ronan have a difficult family dynamic now, and I caught Ronan kicking his dad. Hank really only takes any care for Ronan, and as a result, Ophelia is always spending a lot of time with the twins, especially when they were infants. As a result, poor Ronan was feeling neglected by Ophelia. He doesn't really see any positivity in either of his parents right now, poor guy. Of course, Ophelia is trying, but the twins need a lot of attention. She even neglects her own needs for them. And while she takes care of his needs, she doesn't play with him or do all these things that a child should be able to do with their parent. Nori has been spending a lot of time with Bubbles, making me think if she is an heir, she'll be a cat lover in the future. Ronan maxed out his movement skill and is at thinking level 4 on his own. Brains and bronze. Ophelia is a soft parent, and she tries to hug it out and have a nice talk with the kids when they need discipline. But it seems like the twins don't really like hugs. However, Ronan does really love his mom's hugs. Family friend Holly Sausage called Hank to ask if she should say yes or no to her girlfriend's proposal. His homophobic ass said no. Hank's father had suggested that Hank take initiative and work a bit harder so he can go for a much-desired promotion in the near future. Normally, Hank isn't exactly a go-getter, and he works a bit sloppy at his family-secured job. But he wants to be promoted, and the money promised is enticing. So he's gonna start working hard and spend late nights at work, leaving even less time for the kids. We had a birthday party for Ronan and invited many, many people. Because of his huge smile, I wanted to give him the cheerful trait, but then I remembered his troubles with his parents. I'm gonna hold off on that one for now. He's an active kid with the mind and body aspiration. We also found out that newly teenage Oscar, Ophelia's younger brother, is a klepto and a music lover. Great, her brothers are a little interesting. Holly Sausage, remember her? Called Hank and told him, "I can't believe you're still with Ophelia. I don't get what you see in her." Excuse me? Last time she called, he was homophobic to her, mind you, and Ophelia has a 100% maxed relationship with Holly. They're really close. What? Ronan and Nori have learned the jokester family dynamic, which is adorable. Ronan's first day of school has approached. He met 2 new kids, but didn't make any close bonds. And unfortunately, he came home crying about having a bummer first day. I don't know what happened, but I am really sad for him. Hank got promoted at work, and he's moving up to the big leagues. He had the choice of becoming an investor or management. Becoming an investor pays much more, so it was a no-brainer. He doesn't know what it entails yet, but his father is going to come over and explain the opportunity in greater detail over dinner. A kid that Ronan met at school, Mandy, was going on a walk by her house, but I grabbed her and snatched her inside so Ronan can make a friend. She's actually the daughter of the doctor who delivered Ronan, so that's fun. They totally have to be friends. At the same time, Sand came over to check on Ophelia. She seems a little concerned, but Ophelia doesn't quite understand why. Ronan does seem to have kind of a hard time at school, losing confidence and feeling stressed all day. He threw a tantrum when he got home from his second day of school, so Ophelia did what she knows to do best. She gifted him a journal, like she did when Oliver aged up into a teenager, and showed him as much love as she could. So, the time for Hank's promotional talk has come. Ophelia has prepared a full-course meal of cheese charcuterie, ratatouille, and milk pudding for dessert, though she was a little late because a random fire did catch in the backyard, and then Ophelia died of electrocution, and her dad pled for her life, and it didn't work, so I had to leave without saving. Yay! Hank invited his father inside, slightly embarrassed by the homey, slightly cluttered state of the home. You know how women are with their fluffy things and homey decor, don't mind that, right this way. Of course, he made sure to ignore the kids, as he sat his father down at the dining table. Ophelia heard some shocking news at the dinner. The promotion Lance speaks of requires Hank to move to San Myshuno. She watches Hank, but he doesn't seem quite bothered by this. Ophelia stays quiet during the rest of the dinner, as Lance talks to Hank about corporate. Hank was excited when Lance left, energized about the new opportunity. Ophelia tried not to cry when bringing up her concerns to Hank. Her entire family, her parents, brothers, her friends, and support systems, they all live in Willow Creek. Their home, is in Willow Creek. She can't uproot all her kids from their support system. They wouldn't be able to see their family much anymore, and I'm sure, as you gathered, family is the most important thing to Ophelia. During her time raising her babies, the only thing that kept her sane was her mother coming over to fix their appliances and giving her words of encouragement, and her brother coming over to give attention to his nieces and nephews so Ophelia could rest. Everyone who matters to her being in her life. And what about Hope and Lance? Will he not miss his own family as well? Ophelia, I'm not negotiating. I'm taking this promotion. I don't care about whatever ties you have here. The opportunities ahead of me are more important. None of that matters anyway. You won't need your mom or brother to help you when we move to the city. We can hire a nanny and you can rest all you'd like. We can get a flat with a beautiful view. Isn't that what you want? That isn't what Ophelia wants at all. She can't shift the kids' entire lives for this, especially Ronan, who's already struggling without major changes in his life. She tries to explain that to him, but Hank is angry. She's seen him angry before, of course, but this was different. This wasn't some meaningless spat, this was their entire life. Why can't you just be happy for me? This is huge, I deserve this. Despite the fact he did not work for this, side note. Ophelia tried to leave, in tears, as it was late and she needed to put the kids to bed. She was able to get most of the kids to bed, but when she went to put Nessie to bed, she had to stop halfway through so Hank could scream at her, even though the argument was long over. Nessie crawled up the stairs and put herself to bed to escape the commotion. My poor girl. Ophelia lost it a little, swearing at Hank for the first time, ever. Hank dismissed her, ignored her for the rest of the night. Ophelia cried herself to sleep, completely at a loss of what to do. Maybe it really didn't matter like Hank said, maybe it would be fine, but she can't imagine enjoying life in San Myshuno away from her loved ones. The next morning was a whirlwind. There was more yelling, more arguing, and as it went on, it started to blur together. They both refused to budge, though Hank was much crueler about it. He didn't care to stop fighting when the kids came around, either. They separated, and it's unclear to Ophelia who initiated it. She didn't want any of this. She wished things could go back to the way that it was, but that's not an option anymore. He demanded that she leave the house immediately, which is awful, to be honest, because he's kicking her out with no money, and he's not even gonna live in this house. He's gonna move out of it, but he would rather sell it than give it to his kids. They'll finalize things later, but neither of them can think straight, and Hank is determined to get rid of her so he can start to sell the house and start the moving process. He's a man of pride, so you'd think he'd want the kids for himself, but who would take care of them? So of course, she took the kids with her. She called her parents and brought Ronan, Nessie, and Nori to their grandparents' house. And that is where we are going to be leaving off. Ophelia is now going to be living with her parents, and she has no money, no home other than her parents' home, and no partner anymore. She doesn't know where to go from here. She spent her whole life doing things for Hank, and now what? I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this format isn't too confusing. I hope you were able to follow along well. And I hope you enjoyed listening to what my Sims are up to when you are not around. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.